Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Idiot Quilter. I'm Stephen, and this is episode 195 for December the 6th, 2022. So let's jump right into what I have been working on. So let me just find the picture here for you. And here you go. And this is a cube bag. Now, my sister, let me get a better picture of this for you. Let's see. Here you go. A little better picture. Don't mind that the top looks a little squished down. It actually isn't in real life. I put my hand on top of it when I first took the picture, kind of crushed it a little bit, but it's okay. But this is a neat little bag. My sister, as I was saying, found this on Facebook and sent me the link to the pattern, thinking I might want to make it. I have a feeling she was thinking that maybe I'd like to make it for her, and I have, and I'm going to give it to her for Christmas. But I ran into a few problems with this pattern. Now, I'll show you first of all. I love the fabric I used on the outside of it. This was from my stash. I've been saving it with no ideas of what I was going to use it for. So I thought it would look great here with this bag. And it is fully lined. And you can see the zipper goes around three sides of it. And it's a good size bag as well. Somebody suggested on Stephen and Walter Live that it could be used as a lunch bag. It would hold a lot of lunch. It really would. It's a good size. I think it's about 8.5 inches tall, and I think each one of the sides measures about the same. And it's got the doubles, what do you call it? Double zipper kind of a thing around it. So yeah, a really nice little bag, except for one problem. And that was the pattern itself. And here's the pattern from some place called Turtle Designs. I'm not sure who they are. I have a feeling this was an Etsy shop that I bought it from. Yeah, not a well-written design. Now, it's not the worst pattern that I have ever worked with, but if you were a beginner at making a bag, you would struggle with this. Now, it included pictures of the various stages, but the pictures were horribly taken. The person's hand is in most of the shots or blocking them, and the pictures are not clear enough or close up enough to see what she is explaining. I'm assuming it's written by a she. It may have been a guy. I don't know. I think her name was on it somewhere. But nevertheless, if you were a rank beginner, this is not one for you to start with. In fact, even when you're a little more advanced, I don't think this is a good pattern. I think you could pick up better patterns for this kind of thing, like something like a bag by Annie, something like that. She, I'm sure, has cube bags on her site, and her patterns are excellent, absolutely excellent. And they come with video tutorials. So I do not recommend this one. There's a couple of flaws in this bag, which I am not going to point out to my sister because only somebody who makes bags would notice that there is a flaw. But I will point it out to you. Right down in here, this is a raw seam, and I don't know why. Now, to be fair, it was the fault of the pattern because I misinterpreted, I guess, what they were saying to do, and I read it over and over and over again. I sort of fixed it, but not in the proper way. I mean, it's not going to fray or anything like that because of the way I fixed it, but nevertheless, it is there. Another thing was the way you put the binding, this up here around the edges and the bottom. A very complicated method for doing this. And so I did the first one the way they instruct it. And the second one I did my way. And my way worked better. It was easier to do it. So like I said, this pattern, not one I would recommend to anybody to try. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think so. I mean, I look at patterns as being a rank beginner anytime I pick up a pattern, and I think to myself, and this comes from my days as being a teacher as well, that patterns, no matter how they are written, should never make an assumption that somebody has done something like this before. They should be written for a rank beginner to make sure that they're clear. and should be tested by somebody who didn't write the pattern. Maybe it was. I don't know. But anyways, I won't be buying any more of this particular designer's patterns because, once burned, you know the saying, right? So anyways, I did that. And then I did an experiment. And that's not the experiment. Here's the experiment. Placemats, Christmas placemats. Now, if you look at them very closely, you will realize they are made up of scraps. Scraps of Christmas fabric. And I did some embroidery on top of it. Okay, what's the experiment? These were done on my serger. The piecing was done on my serger. I just was playing around to see, I've heard of people actually doing piecing using their serger. I don't think I would, not for a quilt, but this is a really fast way I found to make something using your scraps, your irregular size scraps, because you really don't have to cut anything because the serger will cut it for you. Does it make really bulky seams? Not any more bulky, I don't think, than when you do a regular 1/4-inch seam allowance. And that's the other thing. You don't have to worry about 1/4-inch seam allowances. You just take your scraps, put one on top of the other, right sides together, zip it through the serger, and then grab another scrap, put it in another spot, and zip it through. So that's what I did. So basically, to make a placemat, like the basic top of a placemat, took minutes to do. Yeah, sure. This is scrappy, as you can see, very scrappy. And then I decided, well, I'm playing around. Why don't we just add some embroidery? Now, the embroidery took a lot longer. Actually, probably not worth taking this much time. But I decided that, I thought the embroidery would kind of hold my layers together because what I did do was I layered this. I have a backing. I didn't show it here. Just another piece of random fabric from my collection of Christmas fabrics and a piece of batting. And I layered them and threw them on the embroidery machine and did those little snowflakey star things on that. Now, that did take a long time. So that took over 3 hours to do those, but that's okay. But then I thought, well, it's not enough. There has to be some embroidery. So I just put it on the sewing machine, used my walking foot, and did some serpentine lines across it. And I went right over top of the applique. And it worked okay. And you can't even see that I went over top of the applique because of the color of the thread that I used. And then, did I really want to spend time binding something like this that was an experiment? No. So I serged the edges with a rolled hem. And that worked out pretty cool. So what this experiment has taught me is if you've got a big bucket of scraps and you have a serger and you want to use up your scraps, but you want to make maybe some charity placemats, or you just want to make some wonky, fun placemats for home or whatever, you can use your serger for it and knock off a few of them relatively quickly. I mean, you don't have to do embroidery on top of them. You could just do simple straight line walking foot quilting on them and then use your serger to bind them. And presto bingo, you've got some very usable placemats. Yes, sure, they are not as refined as ones that you may have pieced and that kind of thing, but I'm not suggesting that necessarily these are something you would give to somebody as a gift. These might be for everyday use in your own home, or you just, like I said, charity kind of a thing. You could extend this to table runners as well. I think it would do really well to make a table runner. And having said that, I think I may give that a go. You always have abandoned or orphaned strips from jelly rolls. You can just take some of those strips and just zip them up on the serger, and in no time you're going to have a table runner like that. So yeah, that might be something I'll give it a go because I've got a lot of orphan jelly roll strips. So anyways, I thought I'd share that with you because it was an experiment. And yeah. Okay, so what do I want to show you next? These. So we went to Ultimate Sewing on the weekend, and because Walter needed some more fabric for his fabulous tote bags that he's making. He's already given 2 of the tote bags to the neighbors next door because they basically commissioned him last summer to make some Christmas bags. And funny story, when Walter took 2 of the bags over, and he's not charging them for them, we're just giving them to them as well, because they're good neighbors, you know, we're doing that kind of thing. Dry lips. One of my little gifts in my Kawartha Quilting Santa bag that I bought this year. More about that in a moment. But anyways, so I didn't really need any fabric. Well, it's never a need, it's a want for me. And so we're in there. I saw this package of 9 fat quarters batiks from Ben Artex, and they were a pretty good price, $35. You know, so $35, 9 fat quarters, average fat quarter in our area, anyways, in Canadian money, are about $5. So, you know, $45, I got them for 35, save $10. Yeah, I'm using math here to make me feel better about spending $70 for 2 packages. But I love batiks, and this set of colors are ones that my collection of batiks are kind of lacking. So yeah, it was an impulse buy, but I bought them. So thought I'd share that with you. Okay, and I have some other fabrics to share with you as well. These. Last week, I reviewed an online quilt store called Quincy's Quilts, and I was really astounded at their prices. They were really, really good. They're out west somewhere. I can't remember what, but you probably remember better than me if you saw that episode. And so I decided to buy some fabrics, and these are 1 meter cuts, and I think it ended up costing me with the shipping and a whole bit of just slightly over $300 Canadian. That included tax. And yeah, I'm impressed with their service. They got them to me very quickly. I'm impressed by their prices, and I think I will keep them in mind if I want to order some other things later. And you can see my 2 kitty fabrics below. One is it's not actually a panel, but it could be a panel. And with the cat sleeping on the bookshelf, so cute, and the other little kitties. So maybe I'll make at some point in time a kitty quilt. And you know that I'm talking about making quilts, haven't done anything about it yet for Project Life, but this would make, with the cats and that on, would make a nice little quilt for a kid, I think. So yeah, and I really love the ones, I think it's called Marbleized, the ones with all the wavy lines in them. Those are fabric. They're not batik, but I do have some batiks in here, as you can see. Like most of them are batik. But anyways, yep, so I did that shopping. And what else do I have to show you? Okay, I bought some dies. When I went up to pick up my Santa sack at Kawartha Quilting last week, more about that shortly, I bought the big wedding ring, double wedding ring die. I don't know. I always said I don't think I'd ever make a double wedding ring, but everybody makes a double wedding ring. So there's a die for that, so what the heck. That's a project for the new year. But you'll notice I have 2 dies the same. The Lemoyne Star. I'm an idiot. I forgot when I was there that I had bought the Lemoyne Star. Now here's what makes this even more idiotic. There is an app from AccuQuilt for your phone that you can scan the barcode on anything that you buy that's AccuQuilt product, and it puts it into a little database on your phone for you with a picture of it and everything and description. Why didn't I consult that? For some reason, I put it on my list of dies when I went up there. They had them in stock I was going to get, and Lemoyne Star was one of them. So I just realized just this morning when I was pulling these out to take a picture of them to show you that I had 2 Lemoyne Stars. Now, I haven't taken them out of the package yet. So I just sent an email off to Zach at Kawartha Quilting and told him what the situation was, and asked him if it would be okay that when I come into the store next time, I bring this along with me and exchange it for a different die. You know, I'm sure he'll let me do that. But what an idiot. What an idiot. This just takes me back to my crafting days. I used to buy duplicate products with those too. Yeah, I'm losing it. But anyways, I have those for a future project. All right, so I want to show you what I got in my Santa sack from Kawartha Quilting. Now, I bought this back in the summer. It was a pre-order, and it's sort of like one of the Christmas boxes that everybody is doing reveals and openings on right now. And I have done one for the Missouri Star quilt for the first 8 days. I've done it in conjunction with Stephanie Stitches, and that goes up tomorrow, Wednesday. So you can check that out. So I'm not going to show you anything that's there because we did it as a reveal and reaction kind of video for the first 8 items. And we're going to continue that. The next week, there'll be the next 8 items, and the week after that will be the last items. But for this, I did open it on Stephen and Walter Live. So those of you that were on there saw these, and this is what I got. So I'm impressed. I didn't think I was going to be when I first got the sack. None of the parts, none of these things are labeled with a number because they're basically, this is not an Advent box. It's a Santa sack. It's a mystery sack. It cost me about $180 Canadian dollars. Might have been a little less than that. That would include tax and everything. And at first, when I opened up the sack and each thing was individually wrapped and I'm sort of feeling around in there, I was thinking, this might be a dud, which would have disappointed me because from Kawartha Quilting, I always get high quality service, high quality products. So it would have really shocked me if this sack had fallen from the gold standard they really have set their customer service at. Well, I am not disappointed. I think this is great. Okay, the first thing I opened up was the art quilt calendar, and I'm thinking, yeah, who needs a calendar? Well, the thing is, every month has a picture of a different quilt, and the pattern for each of the quilts is included in the back, in a little folder at the back of the calendar. Wow, 12 patterns. So right there, that is a fabulous gift. I got a rotary cutter. It's by AccuQuilt. Didn't know that AccuQuilt made their own rotary cutters, but they do. And you know, who can't use another quality, and they are quality, rotary cutter? So great. I was really wowed by that. And then there's a wool pressing mat. It's a small one, an 8.5-inch square. And you know I love my wool pressing mats, and I have quite a few of them in a variety of sizes, but I do not have this size. This would be great for putting just off to the side of your sewing machine with a small iron, like, or when like you go to a retreat or something like that. So yeah, great little gift. Then there was a notepad, lined notepad. Okay, this is a bit gitchy, but I do use lined notepads all the time. So for me, yeah, this is okay. And then you see the little blue thing down here in the screen with the little bird on it, little star. Well, that is a lip balm. That's what you saw me using. I've got it right here. Now, when we first opened it up, I thought it might be thread conditioner. It is written on the bottom what it is. Let me switch camera over here for a second. Yeah, can you read that? No, upside down. I could not, neither Walter nor I could actually read that. It is so small. So we took a picture of it and blew up the picture. And essentially it tells you the ingredients, but it didn't tell you what it is. There is nothing on here that says this is lip balm. So at first I thought, well, is it thread conditioner? Because I don't use lip balm. And then somebody suggested in a message comment after Stephen and Walter Live that it might be soap, hand soap. It does say it's poison. Don't eat it. So I'm thinking, should I put it on my lips? But anyways, the general consensus was that it was lip balm, and Walter did look it up on the Riley Blake. It's by Riley Blake website, and yes, indeed, it is a lip balm. And you want to know something? I kind of like using it because my lips do get dry in the wintertime, kind of a thing. So yeah. So at first I was not impressed with the bag, and then as I got open these up, I'm really impressed. And I'm really excited to open the other things. There were 15 items in there. Plus, they gave me this little pen, promotional pen, and it's a nice pen. It's got a good weight to it. And, you know, okay, here's another idiot thing. I see this thing on the top of it, and I'm thinking, oh, that's an eraser. Is it an erasable ink? And I tried it. No, it's not. I'm an idiot. This is a stylus. This is what this is for. I've seen these before. I'm really getting old. Really. But it's a nice pen. Writes really well. Bonus. And there were 2 candy canes, too, which I have not yet eaten. And I'm not a big fan of candy canes. So it was maybe hang these on my tree just for fun, or I'll give them away. I'll regift them when I start getting my gifts all together. But anyways, bottom line of all of this is Kawartha Quilting never lets me down. Loving this bag. And if the other things that are in it, I'm just as thrilled with, for sure. Next year, if they do this again, I will most definitely be ordering one. Now, having talked about Christmas boxes and Christmas bags and things like that, and as already said, Stephanie and I are opening together the first 8 items in the Missouri Star quilt. And I have to say, I am very impressed with the first 8 gifts. It was well worth the money that I spent on that. But Stephanie ordered a lot of different boxes in Christmas Advent things from various companies. And she thought because she has viewers, she's American, she has viewers from Canada, that she should get one from Canada. So she went to the Quilting Gnome. Now, I did a review a few weeks ago about the Quilting Gnome's store. It's in a place about 90 minutes north of me. And we even talked, Walter and I, about going there to check out the actual brick and mortar store. I don't know if we're going to do that now. And it's because of what Stephanie has discovered. She started to do an unboxing several days in a row of what she got that she said she spent a lot of money on. And I looked it up, and their bag was $180.25. Less for an American. I think Stephanie said it worked out being to $135 American. But either way, expensive. It's crap. The stuff in it is absolutely crap and cheap. Now, she did 3 videos over the course of 3 days showing the first 3 gifts. First of all, the very first gift was the bloody vinyl bag that the stuff came in, which had a printed picture of a quilt on it. Well, come on. It's like one of those reusable shopping bags you can buy at Dollarama or someplace like that. Okay? That's considered one of the gifts. The second gift was a lanyard, a retractable lanyard that you could put your snips on. And it's a promotional item from, looks like from Handy Quilter. Yeah, okay. The store probably got those for nothing or got them really cheap. Probably something maybe they give out at certain things. The third gift was a tape measure. Not a good tape measure. In fact, Walter and I both have the same tape measure that was given to us for nothing as part of a grab bag at a swap, or not a swap, at a quilting retreat. And they're crappy. You pull it out the first time, it's supposed to be retractable, and it retracts. The next time you do it, it doesn't. It just, you have to keep pushing the button to get it to go in. It goes in by 2 inches apart. Cheap. Absolutely cheap quality. Remember, this is a $180 bag. Well, Stephanie now has decided she just can't go on showing all the rest of the gifts because, first of all, the store contacted her and told her they wanted her to open them all up at once because they may have had one item that was a duplicate and wanted her to check for that. Well, Stephanie didn't want to do that because she wanted to open each thing up over the course of several days. You know, because that's the point of doing these little reveals, you know. Not only is it to show people what you got, but it's to be a surprise for you. But nevertheless, she was very kind and accommodating, and she did that. And there wasn't a duplicate, but she said the stuff was shit. quite frankly, shit. Like 3 of the gifts were hand sewing needles. 3. She said they each one were a different brand, but big deal. That should have been one gift, in my opinion, and in Stephanie's too. She didn't tell me what the other things were. I'm going to have to ask her about that. But she said it was just she could not endorse it. That's how bad it was. And I have noticed there are still some of those available online at the store. My recommendation is don't buy it. I certainly wouldn't. Last year, supposedly, they sold out. This year, they still have some left at this point in the year. Most places don't have any of them left. So that suggests that maybe people were really burned last year and didn't buy it this year. But this whole thing, you know, Walter and I were talking about this. I don't like to slam other stores, but I am slamming these ones because I have a very bad feeling about them. One of the reasons is their idea of what a Christmas calendar or Christmas box is all about. It reeks of cheapness. It reeks of trying to make a profit on something like this. Yeah, they're a store, but I think most of the companies that put these Christmas boxes out probably are not making a whole lot of money on them, maybe enough to cover their shipping costs and, you know, the cost of the basic items, but they do it as a promotion. It gets you familiar with their store and with their customer service and the quality of what they sell. And this does not give me a good feeling at all. The other reason why I don't think I'm going to deal with this particular store is they have fabric, but it's not online on their store. And if you saw that review, you know I talked about that. And I contacted them to see, do you sell fabric? They had kits. That's why I went to them, because one of the ladies at Ultimate Sewing had bought several kits from them over the years, and she said she liked the kits. So I went there too to check that out by her recommendation. But when I contacted them about fabric, the reason they don't have it online, they told me, was simply because it goes out of stock real fast in their store. And so they just can't get it up in time. I don't know. That's a mixed message. Whatever. So, yeah, I really respect Stephanie's opinion. And if Stephanie says this stuff is crap, it's crap. And what I saw of it was crap, too. So, that's the Quilting Gnome store in Ontario, Jackson Point, Ontario. Don't recommend it. Sorry. You blew it. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. I started you know that I started the North Pole Christmas tree skirt, the In the Hoop project. I have now got the first circle, the inner circle, done, not sewn together, but the piece is done. And here's my video about that. Okay, the embroidery on this piece is all done, as you can see, the different stars and the little gifts and things like that. And now we're going to take it out of the hoop. So we just pop it out, put the hoop over to one side, and now we need to tear off this excess stabilizer. And it's very easy to do so. And it just tears along the edges of what's here, of the sewing, because it basically has been perforated by that. You may have a few stray pieces that you have to get in there with your fingers and just pull them off. There we go. Now the next thing is we need to trim this up. Because these pieces are going to be put together on a sewing machine, we need to have a seam allowance. And in the case of machine embroidery, the standard seam allowance at seams with most of these projects I've done is 1/2 inch from the outside line. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm lining my ruler up with my 1/2 inch mark along that outside stitch line and just going all the way around on the 3 sides of this triangle. Missed a little piece there. Actually, I said 3 sides. There's actually 4. So line that up. And the last part of this. And there we are. We have our second part of the inside circle. There's only 13 more of these to go. And then we start to work on the next middle ring and then the outer ring. So you can see this took about 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes to complete. But that one's done. Now I like to label it. So I just take a sticky note, and on the sticky note I'm going to write, just check my notes here. This is the inside, if I have a pencil that writes, inside block number 1, gifts. I'm going by what they call it in the book, and I'm just going to double check that for me. And that was called the inside block 2. Sorry, inside block 2, gifts 2. Okay. Not absolutely sure why that's called gifts 2. I guess it's because it's slightly different design than what was on the other one. So I have the first inside circle, the one at the top of the skirt. All the pieces, all the segments are now embroidered. Of course, they are not sewn together yet. Now, when you take these off the hoop, each one, you cut a 1/2 inch all the way around from the outside border. So you see that black line that's right along there and on the bottom? It's a 1/2 inch that you cut beyond that. And that's going to be your seam allowance. And so essentially what you do is you put these, lay right sides together, you find, and then you sew your 1/2 inch. So what happens is, if you've sewn it right, and it does get tricky, and I'm not at that stage yet, but usually I pin it so that the lines match up and they get buried in the seam allowance. I'll sew slightly just to the edge of that black line so it gets buried in the seam allowance and you don't see it. But now you can see how big this is going to be. Of course, this is going to get a little smaller. These are spread out a little bit, but it's a good size. It's looking like it's going to be a little bigger than what I thought it was going to be. But that's okay. But I'm not done yet. Now you're going to wonder, what are all these sticky notes with wonder clips stuck to these? These are the piece numbers. So I know the order that they should go in, because there is a specific order. Because if you look here, you can see Santa and his reindeer and his reindeer and his reindeer, and then Rudolph. And then the rest is sort of stars and little swirly cues and snowflakes. And it comes back down to this. So once it gets all together, I think there's a little string. This hole in the center is not going to be this big. And someone asked me one day, how does this go onto the tree then? Well, there is a part that you will not sew together. So there'll be a slit somewhere in here. And I think you actually, probably in the sewing directions, you put a ribbon or something around on the inside of the top so you can sort of tie it together. I don't know. I haven't gotten to that stage yet. But the next stage of this is start to work on the next circle, the outside part. It has 15 segments as well and more embroidery. So yeah, I think you get the idea now of why I said this is going to take quite a long time to complete. But I will carry on. Will I get this done for this Christmas? No, I will not. It's on hold right now. I've been working on some other things. I'll probably come back to it, but that will be one of those projects in the new year that I'll try to make a concentrated effort, because it's a UFO now, and get that done for next Christmas. And as far as a video tutorial goes about it, well, that may be a long time coming. So yeah, sorry about that if you were depending on that from me, but yeah, I just It takes a long time. And I know there's a few other people working on it and they've been successful. They have completed it. And if you're one of those people that have completed it, you want to send me a picture or two of it, please do. I'll share it here. And if you've got some tips and tricks as you were making it, send those along with the picture and I'll share those with everybody. Okay, so that takes me to Subscribers Quilt of the Week. This is one from a regular subscriber, Suzanne Perot, and she sent me this beautiful creation. This week's quilt comes from Suzanne Perot, and we have seen some of her lovely creations before, but here is a great one. I really love this quilt, not because of the quilt design, it is a double wedding ring, but because of the cat. The cat loves it too. But no, seriously, this is what Suzanne writes about this quilt. This is a quilt that was done for a draw for a church, which turned out to be a very successful draw. The pattern is a wedding ring, and it's made with batiks. Lots of little pieces cut with my AccuQuilt die, pieced with my M7, and some quilting done with pantograph and the circle by my M7. Yeah, and I think, and she says, even the cat did enjoy lying on the quilt. Yeah, for sure. And this is a beautiful quilt. It's one of those classics. Everybody has in their bucket list that they want to make a double wedding ring, except me. I don't really have a desire to make a double wedding ring. However, after seeing Suzanne's beautiful creation, I'm now inspired. And of course, she did use the AccuQuilt die set, and that also inspires me to make something like this as well. So yeah, there might be a double wedding ring quilt in my future, but for now, we just have to admire the great workmanship that has gone into this quilt. Thanks for sharing this with us, Suzanne. It's beautiful. And that takes me now to the YouTube channel of the week. This is one I came across very recently, and find the videos that are there very useful. It's called Tea Quilts. This week's YouTube channel is called Tea Quilts, and just as the name suggests, this is all about quilts. And as we can see, there are quite a few videos on here, and Tea Quilts is very, very popular because it has over 16,000 subscribers. And just as a side note, I have reached out to the owner of Tea Quilts for an interview, but I haven't heard anything back yet to date. But let's just take a look at what she has to offer here on her YouTube channel. So she has block drawing November 2022, retreats. She's got a lot about retreats. She does more than quilts. There's cosmetic bags. I'm not sure what block drawing is, but I'm sure you would find out if you went and watched the video. I've only watched one or two of her videos so far. I found this one about starching techniques with a guest person. I think this was at one of her retreats. Very informative. She also has something called African Shuffle, Take 5. There's a lot here. And looking at her colors and her design, it's a little bit different from what we may usually see. Let's check out her playlist just to get a better sense of how this is organized. Block drawing, pouches and totes, Take 5 quilts, 4-Star Generals Revisited. It's a quilt pattern, it looks like. She has some travel vlogs. She has some recipes as well on here. Die cutting videos, long arm videos, string quilting. So she has a wide variety of topics here and tutorials to check out. So if you want to see something a little bit different, something that may be inspiring, not may, will be inspiring, check out Tea Quilts. Now, speaking of future projects, I have another one I may or may not get done. I belong to the Canadian Quilters Association, and they every year put out a block of the month mystery quilt. And so I have downloaded the first 3 installments of this, but I have not started working on it, and I have put it all in a nice little binder. And I do want to do it because it has animals on it. It looks kind of cool. But that's one of those projects that could be sitting around for quite a while. But here's what I'm talking about. This week's pattern is actually more than one pattern. It's for a whole quilt, and this is a mystery quilt. And I can tell you right now, and I'm sorry, but this is not available for most people. You have to be a member of the Canadian Quilters Association, which I am a member of, in order to get this. This is a mystery quilt for 2023. Every year, the organization does put up a mystery quilt. And the reason I'm interested in this one is because it has animals that are all done not by paper piecing, as you might suspect, but by patchwork. And I'll just show you here, for example, this is the beaver, and there's a polar bear. So far, there's only been 2 months. Have I started working on this? No. When am I going to start working on it? Maybe in the new year. I'm, though, downloading each month when they come out with one of the blocks. I'm downloading the pattern for that month and I'm putting it in a binder. But it appeals to me because I've always kind of wanted to do a quilt that has patched worked animals on it. So this one kind of fits the bill. So we have the beaver, and it has all the cutting instructions, but we also have, I mentioned this, the polar bear. So of course, these are animals that are indigenous to Canada. And I have a feeling that the whole quilt is going to be made up of animals from my country. Now, it's called the $3.31 quilt. I have no idea why it is called that. I'll have to look back at the first references that they made to this quilt back when they first put it up. Under fabric requirements, for example, there may be a reason why this is called. Says the $3.31 quilt is inspired by, well, it's a mystery. So it all will be revealed at the end. So I guess we're not going to find out why this is called the $3.31 quilt until the end. And that'll be at the end of next year, I guess. I'm not really sure how many months they're doing this for. So anyways, that's something that's from my bucket list I may do. And well, I'll keep you informed. So that would bring me to this week's interview. I don't have one. I have several feelers out for people who are basically ignoring me, so I guess they're really not interested. Well, that's not true. There was one person who approached me and said she would like to be interviewed, sent me some pictures of her work, which looks great. But she would rather do it after the holidays are over, so that's fine and dandy. So I might have something for the early part of January. But in the meantime, if you have suggestions, I'm always open to them. Please send them my way. Okay, so that takes me to online fabric stores, online quilting stores this week. And this one of the my subscribers recommended this. It's a little different because it works in conjunction with a Facebook page as well. It's called A Little Extra Something Special. Really great prices, really great sales, and well, here's what I'm talking about. This week's online quilt store is a little different from the usual ones that I review. One of my subscribers suggested this site, and she says that she has gotten a lot of deals, especially on the Facebook page that goes along with this website. But we'll talk more about that in a minute. So here's their first page, and it is called Little Extra Something Special, and you can find it at lessfabricplace.ca. A little confusing on the name and the link, with the name being a little different from the actual website link, but nevertheless, it's worth checking out. So looking at the front page, we have shop now, half-meter bundles, shop batiks, shop blenders, shop thread, and then we have some examples of the various fabrics that are available. Now, I do know that this is sort of a mom and daughter situation, and if you see something and you like it and it's at a great price, then you want to grab it very quickly. Now, you can go to their Facebook page and join it, and the Facebook page is called the same thing, A Little Extra Something Special. You join it, and then every day check it for bargains, but you have to act quickly. Not really my style when it comes to ordering fabric. However, that does not mean I would not visit it every now and then and see what happens to be up for grabs on that particular day. And when I say up for grabs, I mean up for grabs. You have to reply to a message in the Facebook if you're interested in something that's on sale, because there's limited quantities, and just nail it. Say, I need that, I want it now. And that's basically how you might get it from the Facebook page. But here on their website, you can also order. So sales, let's see what they have for sale. And here we go. So you can see, and this changes, I think, on a regular basis. $10 per meter. Wow. That is the best price I've seen anywhere. $13 per meter is very, very good. $12, $10, $8 for a panel, $9 per meter. Like, the prices are all really, really good. So that's just stuff that's on sale. Let's go to the regular fabrics. Now you can do it by manufacturer, or you can do it by, what else did they have? By theme or pre-cuts. Well, let's try by manufacturer, and let's check out, I'm sure they have Northcott. They do. I always pick Northcott because it's Canadian, and I know it probably the best of any of the companies. So for the Toscana line, which are basically blenders, $12 per meter. Excellent, excellent price. They have some panels. Oh, I actually, color collage, really good price, $15 per meter, because that one I paid up over $20 a meter for when I bought a whole line of that at one point in time. And they've got 16 pages of these. Let's just go to the end and see what we have here. Some seasonal, $15, $15. So even at $15 per meter, that seems to be their upper limit. That's really good. Let's check out their batiks as well, because batiks tend to be a little bit more expensive. Okay, having a little trouble here navigating. There we go. $15 per meter. That's still very good, because on average, batiks tend to be a little bit more money, I have found, and usually around the $18 mark is considered a good price. So this is a sensational price at $15 and $15.50 per meter, and quite a few to choose from as well. So let's go to Notions. And let's see, they have patterns, rulers, thread. Let's check out their thread. Wonderfill, $9.60 for a spool. That is a fairly good price for one Wonderfill. It looks like they may only have Wonderfill. Let's just jump ahead here and see. Then now the 2D ones, $13.80. That's not maybe the best price I've seen that at in some sites, but that's a fair price. Yeah, so it looks like they deal in only Wonderfill. Let's check out. I'll check out rulers. I mean, as oh, nothing there. Okay. Patterns. Okay. So, oh, under patterns, they're coming up with patterns, but also like this kitty one, this fabric. Okay, and then there's some other, maybe these fabrics go along with patterns that are here. I don't know. Oh no, that's the pattern. Okay. But I think it is showing the fabric as well. Now they've got some interesting ones. Price-wise, the pattern's about standard. And there's a few pages of that. Okay. I did notice that under Notions, they also had batting and stabilizer. Heat and Bond Ultra no so, and Wonder under fusible, but that isn't batting. Those are fusibles and interfacing. So yeah. And there was something under fabric pre-cuts. Let's check out the pre-cuts. 1.5-inch strips, 2.5-inch strips, 5 and 10-inch squares, applique piece, fat quarters, fat quarter bundles. Let's check out fat quarter bundles. That's a pre-order. And Yeah, they don't have much to choose from here. Again, I think it all depends on what they get in. Uh, I don't think they may have a regular supply of things. So you have to check back often if there's something that you think you might be interested in. And let's just check out just fat quarters themselves. And it takes you to the same thing. Okay, maybe not the biggest selection. Well, it isn't the biggest selection of pre-cuts, but again, as I said, um, check back often and check the Facebook page as well, because I think that's maybe where you're going to see a lot of things that you can choose from. But as I said, you're going to have to act fast if you want something. So that's a little different site. Uh, little extra something special. And the link for this will be in the show notes below. So what's coming up? Well, Craft and Chat. It is the first Wednesday of the month tomorrow, December the 7th. And this link for it is in the Zoom note, or the Zoom link for it is in the show notes below. And those of you that are on my mailing list have already received that link in your email box. And so we start at 1 p.m. Eastern Time and run until around 4:30 in the afternoon. It's open to everybody, no matter what you're working on, no matter what kind of thing you're working on. And it's always a great time. So I hope to see lots of you there so we can have fun working on whatever we're working on. So that's tomorrow, December the 7th, starting at 1 p.m. I've already talked about Christmas boxes reveals. Tomorrow, I dropped the video with Stephanie and I opening up the first 8 items in the Missouri Star quilt box, and you will see our reaction to each of those things. So that is there. And the Santa sack from Kawartha Quilting that I mentioned earlier on Stephen and Walter Live on Sunday this week, we will be opening up another 5 of the gifts that are in that bag. So I'm really excited to see what I'm getting in all of these things, because no, I have not peeked at any of this stuff. You will see my reaction as I open it. Okay, anything else to tell you? Just a reminder, I am going to have that New Year's Day sew day. Details will be coming out in the next couple of weeks about all of that. So you can just put that in the back of your mind in case you've got nothing better to do on New Year's Day. Then join the rest of us with that. Yeah. So I think that's it for now. Lots of things to do. I'm sure everybody's really busy getting ready for Christmas Day. I know I am. I have gifts to sort out now and things like that. And yeah, it's a busy, busy week. And I like to be busy. And I hope you do too. So we'll see you next week. Bye bye for now.